chemo it's got a bad name really, and of course, you expect the worst, and yes, the worst does happen, but it's not as bad as what some people say it is, but everybody's different.
Has there already been microscopic spread via lymph channels or blood vessels to other parts? If there has, then the operation on its own is unlikely to be curative, and there will be a risk of cells growing back in other parts of the body at a later time. And that's why we give drug treatment, because it's been shown that can maintain people disease-free. In other words, treatment is given with a curative intent after surgery, and that benefit is maintained now at more than 20 years in the studies that have been done. So a proportion of people are cured by that drug treatment after surgery.
I have to say, chemotherapy's come a long way in the 20-odd years that I've been giving it. So one of the newer treatments that we've been using lately is Herceptin, which is really only for a small group of women who are HER2 positive, but that has advanced the rate of prognosis significantly in this small group of women. Not one treatment is really harder than the other. They're all pretty potent treatments, but it's how we manage the side effects, and I guess using really effective anti-sickness medication is important.
The first lot of chemo I had was disastrous. I ended up very sick, and thought, I remember coming home and I says to Gavin, I don't know about this. I was violently vomiting and stuff, but we got all that sorted, and district nurses were in place and they came and I got sorted. It was just to sort of get the medication right, and after that went through it without a problem.
I was managed very well, and I seemed to manage it very well too. At the start I thought, this is a breeze, I'm going to get through this, no problem. But once day 4, 5, 6 and 7 kicked in, boy, those were the really hard days where you just thought, wow, because it almost feels as though you're taken to the brink of death to be able to get better again.
Yeah, it's not pleasant because you're sitting there in a room with other people who have got cancer and, in varying degrees, and you just know you're pumping all this poison into your body, and that's really hard. It goes against everything you might believe in, and so that's difficult. So you've got to know that you're doing this for the right reasons.
The usual diarrhoea and vomiting. I did a bit of fainting here and there. My fingers and toes are numb at the moment, and that's part of the reason I'm having a spell. I'm in the middle of a month off chemo.
I couldn't go through the last treatment. I said to my wife, no, I'm not going through the last one. I've been knocked around too much. I feel I'm still feeling the effects of that chemo.
For the most now, because nausea and vomiting isn't the main side effect anymore, it's a lot more easier to try and get back into some normality with work life, but with a few limitations.
I would have probably a couple of days after each treatment I wouldn't work, but by and large I kept working.
It was a 3-week cycle, so I learnt how to manage that cycle. That for the first week and a half, basically too sick, too tired, too yuck to do anything, and then I'd get my energy back in the second half of the 3 weeks would be the time I'd actually get out and do things. And
I was told that what you went through in that first cycle is how you would react for the next cycle, but I think your body is just starting to get a bit more tired anyway, and I took 2 days off the next time, and then I took 2 days off and then 3 days off. So and definitely my stomach was not very happy, and I basically slept for 2 days.
I actually had a burst of energy for about 3 days, and then I'd crash and was full of you feel nauseous and yuck and tired. So I'd go to bed, and whatever concoction I was on made me very, very hungry. So I ate and ate and ate and ate and ate. And I'm still carrying the result of that, but
50% of women who have breast cancer, drug treatment or chemotherapy after surgery, adjuvant treatment, will put on up to 10% of body weight. You feel tired, you don't do so much, Because you're tired physically, you're also tired mentally. It gets really difficult. If, however, you exercise, you are taking control again, you're preventing the weight gain, stimulating the blood flow, everything works better, and it is my definite experience that women will tolerate the chemotherapy better by maintaining an exercise program.
We got a dog sort of end of December, so he was my companion and someone that I would have to take for a walk every day. So I made sure I got out every day and went walking and sort of increased my the level of walk as I got fitter.
It was challenging having a little person when you're not feeling the greatest, especially once the chemotherapy kicked in. And I actually thank God for small miracles, because he dragged me out of bed every day wanting his toast for breakfast, and had he not been there, some days I'm sure I just would have stayed there all day.
I didn't think about the nausea, I didn't think about the chemo. I mean, I hated it, I dreaded it. I won't pretend that I didn't. I really hated it. But then, you know, we were a group who went through it, and we all kept each other going, and we joked about it while we were having the chemo. I think that ability to laugh is very important.
The worst part of it was losing my hair. And it was, I guess, you know, all you have to go by, if you don't know anyone who's had chemo, all you have to go by are really bad movies that you've seen with women finding big clumps of hair in the shower and vomiting into the toilet. And so I was quite scared about that. But once my hair did start falling out, I kind of took control and I had it shaved off and I got a wig straight away, and I thought, like, I'm going to call the shots here.
I thought it was going to be very challenging, because my hair to me has always been my thing. It's just has to be right every day, and so I thought at first it was going to be really challenging, but I actually embraced it and really enjoyed it. I just thought, wow, this is a different change and I can do lots of cool things. And in a way I was lucky, because I went through having no hair right through winter, so I could wear some really funky hats, and I did lots of cool things with scarves and turbans and things like that. So I actually embraced it really well. I liked it, actually.
Made 5 attempts to get my hair shaved. I just couldn't do it, and on the 5th time I had to do it. My hair was falling out in hunks, and had my wig all organised prior to that. And
it was a big deal for me, because I couldn't see myself wearing a wig, and the expectation was you need to get a wig.
I never wore wigs. I tend to wear hats, because the wigs just didn't, I just didn't want it.
like initially I didn't want to see myself with no hair. I couldn't cope with that, and I used to quickly get up early in the morning and Gavin would put my wig on for me so I didn't have to see it. And then I thought, well, this is silly, because if he gets called out, do I ring up work and say I can't come because I can't face looking at myself with no hair?
This is me with my wig. And this is me without, and now I'm pretty sweaty because the wigs get hot, by the way. For me, wearing the wig, it was kind of like, I felt a bit fake, like having it on. But when you're out there, it's just like a different society, and they kind of look at you. And but I think after a while, or probably soon, I'm just gonna go out there and not wear anything. So
I was encouraged by people to say, I could wear. I walked through public place with no hair, and it was all right. Once I'd done that, it was fine.
I went to my hairdresser just to say hi and have coffee, and she said, it's looking a bit untidy. And then tattooed eyebrows, because I didn't have any eyebrows. So I didn't have a face as far as I could see.
I was more bothered about losing my eyelashes and my eyebrows more so than losing my hair, and that probably comes down to the whole makeup side of things.
I had the fear of being labelled instantly a short-haired lesbian, you're nearly 50 and you've shaved your hair off. So I had to do the scarf thing and, make myself look a bit trendy. And people were quite impressed that I was wearing nice scarves and things. So I bought new earrings and made myself a bit, look a bit better, yeah.
I lay in bed one morning and I thought, if I have to go through this, I need to embrace this pain that I'm going through. Just to change my attitude, my way of thinking a little bit. Instead of fighting with it, I thought I would work with it.